The Hateful Eight is written and directed by Quentin Tarantino and stars the likes of Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, as well as Tim Roth, just to name a few. It's a story of 8 strangers who show up at a lodge on a mountainside during a really heavy blizzard. Now, some of them know each other purely by reputation, but all of them are suspicious of one another. And the movie kind of turns into a rated R version of Clue. Do you remember Clue, that awesome board game and a very fun movie? This movie kind of reminded me of that. You're in an isolated location, something goes wrong, and no one knows who the culprit is, and you have to decide as a viewer. It's sort of a whodunit, but it's more of a mystery, and it's also a comedy, and it's also a drama, and it's also a western, similar to all of Quentin Tarantino's films. It's difficult to lock down a genre, and that's what makes Hateful Eight so great, amongst a bevy of other things. The guy's done it again. Quentin Tarantino, you're a master. He's delivered yet another film with icy cold dialogue, amazing sequences that are entirely driven from just people talking back and forth. And the movie is 3 hours long, so that is saying something. Now that does include an overture as well as an intermission. This film is so old-fashioned. It also has an original score by Ennio Morricone, who you may know from everything. He's one of the best composers who ever lived. He's very famous for his Good, the Bad, and the Ugly themes in his spaghetti western movies. And I think it's one of the best scores he's ever composed. Now, one of the things I loved about the score is that Quentin Tarantino is famous for using music that's already existed in movies. Now, there's a song on John Carpenter's The Thing soundtrack, also composed by Ennio Morricone. That song title was called Bestiality. Now, that song, for whatever reason, is not in The Thing, despite being the best song on the entire album. It was omitted from the film for some reason, and I've always loved it ever since I was young and I found the soundtrack. And for years, I've actually listened to that song and thought, how cool would that have been if Carpenter had used that song in his movie? Quentin Tarantino found that song and stuck it in Hateful Eight at 2 amazing sequences. And it was so cool to finally hear that song in a movie, which is funny because it is composed by Ennio Morricone, who also composed the original music for this movie, but it was actually composed for The Thing. That's just my movie nerd brain, and I was happy to hear that song in a movie for once. What's also so great about this film is its use of location. You're isolated. This is a claustrophobic movie. It's all in one place, and you feel like you're in this cabin. You feel like you're in this lodge, and it felt like the entire theater was getting cold, and every time someone drank coffee or lit the fire, I was like, oh, thank goodness, because you just feel the location. It was so well utilized. Kurt Russell is fabulous in this movie. He was funny, he was likable, he was a total badass, and I dug his character so much, but you know who my favorite character in this entire film was? That of Samuel L. Jackson. I loved him in this movie. I truly think that he is Oscar worthy. He hit all of the notes so well. Every scene in which he had a monologue, especially one scene that I will not spoil where he talks about something that happened in the past. Oh my gosh, it was so amazing. He was perfect in this movie. It's the best work I think I've seen from him since maybe Pulp Fiction, and I mean that. He was great. Also excellent is Demian Bichir. I believe I said his name right. I may be incorrect, but he was so good. Bruce Dern was great in the film. Everyone really was great. Walter Goggins, I believe that's his name. This cast, Tim Roth, oh my gosh, Tim Roth. So great to see him back in a Tarantino film. Everyone in this movie was on their A game. It's amazing that I can just watch a movie that has like a 10-minute dialogue scene with just a few cuts back and forth, and I'm riveted because it's so snappy, it's so well written, and I'm so glad that Tarantino decided to make this movie despite the fact that the script leaked back in the day. I'm really glad he went forth with it because this is one of my favorite Tarantino films. There is action, and yes, there's gore as you would expect in a Tarantino film. The sequences that I remember the most are these amazing stare downs between characters when they're just laying everything on the line and saying it how it is. And Tarantino is a master of that type of dialogue where someone just sits down, gives you an analogy, and it's just amazing to watch. And it was so old-fashioned too. The super widescreen, the Ennio Morricone score, the look, everything about this movie, the overture, the intermission just screamed the 1960s. I loved The Hateful Eight. I have but one flaw with it, and that is that, like most Tarantino films, the story is non-linear at one point. We go into the past at a point to see how something started. It's not handled as swiftly as some of Tarantino's other films. It's a little uneven in that branching arc, at least for me. Besides that, man, I love The Hateful Eight. I can't wait to see it again. I loved seeing some of these actors on the screen delivering great performances with fantastic dialogue. Tarantino, you still got it, man. Don't stop making films. Just keep doing it. I'm going to give The Hateful Eight an A. Guys, definitely check this film out. I strongly recommend it. It is one of the best films of the year. I also want to let you guys know about my promotion still going on with Crunchyroll.com. If you go to Crunchyroll.com/Chris Stuckmann, you can get 30 days of that anime streaming service for free. I've been doing this promotion all year. These guys have been amazing. I love that website. Tons of anime, premium with no ads in HD. And once again, that is Crunchyroll.com/Chris Stuckmann. 30 days for free. That's my gift to you. On me. Enjoy. See if you like it. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. You're the best, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.